Hello, everybody. I'm today welcoming to the first episode of the podcast series of the BS. My guest is Dr. Anna Rostomyan, and we will talk about her field and her expertise. It is the emotion, and today we'll talk about the usage of the AI in the emotion recognition and application in our daily life. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Klein. Thank you so very much for inviting me. It is my pleasure being your first guest. It is an honor for me, and I will be trying to share with you my insights into emotion AI, which is a fairly new field, and I believe it has its potential for changing the whole global humanity for the better.
Yes, and I was truly amazed by your speech during the first conference
Thank you
that
so
we
much.
were holding here in the BSBI campus in Berlin about the AI and the AI implementation. It's why you are here today with me, because I was thinking that more people can hear about that, because it's really, as you mentioned, very new subject and very interesting subjects. So
Thank you so much.
my first question is just to put everyone on the same level of understanding. So how would you define the AI and its capabilities of recognizing and understanding the emotions?
Yes. Firstly, I want to tell you a little bit about my background. I come from a linguistic background, but later on moving towards psycholinguistic, neuro-linguistic, and cognitive linguistic analysis. So all those applications are nowadays being applied in AI. As for artificial intelligence, to put it in simple words, it is instructing software and hardware machines with intelligence tools, how they can help humanity to excel in their day-to-day activities. And in terms of emotion AI, this is a fairly new field. And in terms of artificial intelligence, the first potential program that was very good, it was introduced in 1951 by Christopher Strachey. He was the program manager at the University of Oxford, and his first program running AI machines went very well. It was a success, but later on they understood that there is a kind of a dissonance between human-machine interactions, and since, as Daniel Goleman truly stated, we are not only rational beings but also emotional ones, scientists and researchers have come to the understanding that they have to implement emotional tools into the machines, AI technologies. And at first, it was only that the technologies could only perceive, process, analyze, and understand human emotions. Right now, it is more sophisticated. They can also replicate human emotions. They can express them through facial expressions, through voice fluctuations. They can make the voice very amicable and friendly, that is very human-like, that soothes us humans, being emotional animals, so to say, so that to interact with them harmoniously and effectively towards a common goal.
Mm-hmm. So have you got any examples of the AI application in our daily life?
Yes. During the conference, I spoke about the Robin the robot, who is an invention by an Armenian scientist. I take my pride in it, being an Armenian, and it was considered to be one of the best inventions of 2021 by the Time magazine. And Karen Khachikyan, while constructing and creating this robot, he used emotion AI, because the voice of the robot is very, very friendly and human-like. He uses interjections and also intensification of intensifiers. So these intensifiers are function words which are used to intensify the emotional content of the utterance, like very, truly, greatly, amazingly, wondrously, incredibly, etc. So the robot implies this kind of words in his speech, and he interacts with the children in a very, very amicable manner, so that the children don't get stressed in the frustrating atmosphere of hospitals. And he plays games with them. And there is also a success story that a girl having pneumonia, she refused to eat for a couple of days, and the doctors didn't know what to do. They couldn't get emotionally contact with them, but this robot managed to have this emotional bond. So this cute little guy came in, he played games with her and says, I'm going to go out and I'm not going to return until you eat. And she finally accepted to eat, and the this was a very success story that even the humans didn't manage to resolve, but the robot did.
Great example. And also the robot is like not frustrated, it's not tired.
Yes,
of course
exactly.
needs some kind of battery recharge, but it's not like
Yes.
us that after we have some certain capacity of taking the emotion of other people.
Absolutely.
Because we are taking that very personally, especially in the environment of the hospital. When you see children suffering, for the
Yes.
human being it's very difficult to stay calm,
So
positive, and
So true.
with all these incredible great emotions that you were talking about. So very very great example, and this is the good example. But do
Yes.
you think that there are any ethical considerations that we need to take in account when we are talking about this implementation of the AI intelligent and emotional systems?
Yes, a very good point of view. Concerning these ethical issues, this is a very, very huge issue because nowadays emotion AI is being applied in many, many different spheres, like, for example, in retail stores to gain about insights about customer satisfaction, but it is also being applied for HR practices, and we don't know whether the person wants to be having somebody interfering into the internal world, because sometimes we might feel sad internally about a family issue or a personal issue, but this doesn't have anything to do with the job satisfaction, and maybe the HR people might misinterpret it in terms of this emotion AI if they see that the person is sad about something. So this is this ethical bias, of course, there. And also there is also a huge department run by Microsoft. It's called HUE, Human Understanding Empathy, and they are trying to integrate this emotion AI algorithms so that the chatbots can also reveal the reason why the person is feeling sad. And in the chatbots, people, whenever they are frustrated about something, the chatbot reveals whatever is underneath and understands whether this is something connected with the product or whether this is a personal issue.
Mm-hmm. Amazingly interesting, because as a human beings we are usually projecting, so we see face or we hear the tone of the person, and we are taking this information and we are through us interpreting that, so we are very much projecting what is inside of us on the other people. So this is the psychology behind that.
Yes.
And with the machine it's a little bit different with what you are saying.
Yes. Concerning this, I would like to refer to your speech whenever we ask you the question, how do you feel, when you say very good, this confident tone and also falling tone that you are really feeling in a very positive sense. This resonates with your interlocutor, and the interlocutor, your speaking partner, already starts feeling those very positive emotions. In terms with the machines, if they get integrated, the tone of the voice, the pitch of the voice through hertzes, this will become possible. So, for instance, my hypothesis here was, after my research conducted at the University of Hamburg, we had one native British speaker with Dr. Fuchs, who was from Britain, and 3 non-native German speakers, and we were interested in this pronunciation of these intensifiers that I told you about. And we, through Pratt analysis, this is a software, we understood how these words are pronounced in the native language, and if through hertzes, if we construct, so mainly we were interested in foreign language teaching, but right now I'm further developing this into the field of AI. So if we know the exact hertzes, even the computers may do it better than we humans do while speaking a foreign language.
Yep. Yeah, the machines are more efficient, as we mentioned, just and can work more and just can not think, because the machines are not thinking, but analyze the data much faster than we do. So it's a little bit scary also that that we are giving our freedom and interpretation of our emotion to the machines.
Fully agree.
But as you mentioned, if we as a human using that in a positive way, then we have a positive results. It's always, even if we are looking at the movies, if this technology goes in the wrong hands and with the people with the bad intentions, then there is a huge question marks what they can do with this. But you can answer this question on your own. So what can go wrong?
Yeah, if we give them more information than needed.
Yes. So
to introduce into our personal space.
Yes. So also very interesting is you already mentioned about that you were having this international group and people with the different language background. So how do the culture difference impact the development and implementation of this emotionally intelligent AI?
Thank you so much for this this interesting issue and topic and question, Dr. Klein. Frankly speaking, this is also a very, very, inspiring topic to talk about, because at first Charles Darwin was convinced that facial expressions, for example, that are being decoded by emotion AI machines, they are universal. But Dr. Ekman had the opposite point of view. He believed that they are culturally bound and culturally learned. So for this very reason, he went to a faraway place to New Guinea, and he chose a man from a primitive tribe who had no access to television, no access to people of different cultural backgrounds, and he asked him to display different facial expressions in accordance to different situations, like happy face, sad face, angry face, etc. And later on, what he did, he showed those very images to people belonging to different cultural backgrounds. So his findings proved that the basic emotions, so anger, happiness, sadness, fear, surprise, disgust, and also contempt, are shown the same way across cultures. And in terms of emotion AI, if they have, for example, if they know that if the lips go up, this is the smile and this is a transmitter of positive emotions, the machine will understand that the person is feeling happy. But there is the bias. There is a sad smile and a happy smile. What is the underneath the smile of the person? Or whether the person is feeling happiness at the moment of speech production, because sometimes we feel sad or angry or agitated or frustrated on the inside, but because of vocational requirements, because of what Hochschild calls emotional labor, we display the happy smile and show that we're in a positive disposition and position always. So this is a part of what Ekman calls vocational requirements. And he also says that there are 4 types of display rules: personal display rules, cultural display rules, needs of the moment, and vocational requirements. But all those things are unknown to the machines. And besides, we can also know that in terms of cultural specifics in the business field, for example, if we see a German person walking into a shop and smiling, this mean that the person is feeling happy, he is satisfied, he doesn't need any help. But if a Japanese person comes into a shop and displays a happy smile, this might mean that the shop assistant should come up and lend a helping hand and assist in choosing a certain product. So the cultural bias is still there. You're quite right.
Yeah, there is, but it also, as we said, like good that these machines are not perfect either,
Yes.
because if they are too perfect, then again, like this can cause a lot of people being afraid of that new technology. And this leads to the last questions I have to you, because we are very much afraid of this AI. We are very much afraid of robots, machines taking over. And it's not only our fear about the jobs. Our professor mentioned that the robots can replace us professors in our work. Hopefully not. But very many places are taken. For example, the journalist, 200 recently fired, and AI replacing that. So how we can educate people just to telling them this is another revolution that will bring good results to the people.
Thank you very much for the question, Dr. Klein. I remember also your speech at the conference that you spoke that translators are also losing their jobs with the case study of Deutsche Welle. And I read an article the other day that at Harvard University they already hired, so to say, an AI professor. So he's already replacing us, human capital, our human resources. And at BSBI we have Botsby, who will be our assistant. We have simply to bring home to the students that AI professors are not going to replace human resources. They're simply going to be assistants. They're supporting us in finding some definitions to these different issues, maybe some coding activities and stuff like that. They can be also helping us in data analysis. But in terms of human resources, we know that they don't have these so-called thinking abilities and our internal psychological states, which they lack. So they can be replacing us maybe in the medical sphere, as we mentioned with the Robin, the robot. There is scarcity for human resources there, human workforce. Maybe at some places it will be good that they can take up the jobs of the humans, but we have to be very careful with it, not to let them take the job that we are conducting.
That's true, and also we need to remember this is very good what you said, Dr. Rostomyan, that they are not thinking, and we cannot let them take decisions for us. They can give us the options,
Yes,
but the
very
decision
true.
has to be in the hand of the human being at the end of the day. And also, what I remember from the conference, and I really like that there was this representative of the IBM, and he was mentioning that they have lots of these ethical boards who are talking about how far we can go with the AI implementation into our life.
Absolutely agree with that, because we have to be very careful with it. Concerning decision making activities, there are different interrelated going on. So sometimes we also take decisions based on our intuition and gut instincts which the machines do not have. So I believe I'm longing for a very harmonious and fruitful and efficient human machine coexistence for the future, but we have to be very careful with it, because I remember a case study that the robot said that I am a friend of the humans and I have to serve them, but the other robot was that we have to take over humanity. So we have to be very careful that the algorithms don't change and they don't scare us.
Yeah, so there always has to be this button that we can switch off the robot
Yes.
or machine that doesn't behave in the way that we would like to behave,
Yes.
keeping that very much in our mind. So was only the beginning of this really huge discussion about the AI. We focus on the emotional part of that. And of course, if you have any questions and you would like to raise this question, you can write to us. You will find the email under the podcast. Thank you very much for taking my invitation.
Mutual hearty thanks for your invitation. It was a very nice experience and pleasure to talk to you, Dr. Klein.
So thank you very much for the audience, for listening to us. This was the first episode of the BSBI podcast series about the very important things that are happening around us. Thank you.